Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure to bring on my friend Kyle Collier. He is a fellow producer at Sports Radio 810 WHB, and in this video, we're going to talk about some potential trade deadline targets for the Chiefs. So, Kyle, we have seen this Chiefs team really explode over the past 3 weeks. The offense is humming, the defense has gotten better, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't go out and make a big-time trade at the deadline to get even better. And right now it seems like running back and defensive end are the two biggest needs. But I want to get your thoughts. What do you think is the bigger need, for the Chiefs at the deadline in 3 weeks?
Well, originally, I think during the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, I was team running back. But since Xavier Worthy's return to the offense and just how good the offense have looked, I think they're top five in, efficiency metrics, things like that, rushing success rate even. That's just been Worthy's addition has just been a huge boost to the offense. So right now, I think I am team defensive end or defensive line, an edge or an interior guy, because I know PFF stats aren't the end all be all, but Darcy, it's rough. Let's see the updated standings here. Derek Nottie, 122nd out of 122. Jerry Tillery, 113th out of 122. Chris Jones, 64 out of 122. Ashton Gelati, 104 out of 110. Charles Omenihu, 92nd out of 110. Karlaftis has the best grade of the defensive linemen, 30th out of 110. So it's pretty clear that they do have an issue. Karlaftis is getting pressures, but they're just not getting home. And I know Chris Jones had a great game against the Detroit Lions, led the team in pressures, but he didn't get home. So right now, I think the Chiefs are on pace for like less than 40 sacks. They only have 12 sacks, 12 this year. Might have to check my math there, but I think I'm doing that right. It's defensive line, and I think in the playoffs, if you've got a good defensive line, just look at every time the Chiefs have lost, in the playoffs. They've been in Super Bowls, but those teams had dominant defensive lines, right? The Chiefs do not have that. And while the secondary is absolutely locked down, I am not sure how confident I am going into the playoffs against the best teams in the NFL, relying on your secondary to not only one, be healthy the rest of the year, but number two, just play lockdown coverage for, an NFL play can go on from 5 seconds to 15 seconds, something like that. The defensive line will matter.
I'm kind of split because I think that the first 4 weeks it was running back. The Chiefs could not run the ball effectively, but over the past couple weeks, the offensive line has been better. The Chiefs have ran the ball more effectively. They're still not great on the ground, but they're at least running the ball with more success. The defensive line, and specifically the pass rush, has not been good whatsoever. They can't generate consistent pressure like you said, and when they do, it comes off of stunts and blitz packages that they have to get creative with doing. So I definitely think that defensive end would be, a very smart trade. The issue is I think that the running back market at the deadline has a lot more options. And in fact, I want to go ahead and pull up this tweet from Ian Rappaport that the Chiefs are asking teams about running backs ahead of the trade deadline in 3 weeks. Jalen Wright from Miami, Devin Singletary from New York, Breece Hall from the Jets, and Alvin Kamara have been mentioned as potential candidates by Adam Schefter. Now, before we get into these candidates, I first want to just check off one that I would absolutely hate to see, and that's Devin Singletary. I think adding Devin Singletary to this offense would be like elevating Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It just makes no sense. He's not going to give you any juice. But what do you think about some of the names that Schefter and Ian Rappaport talked about?
Yeah, I think if I were to do a Mount Rushmore, my wish list, Breece Hall is obviously number one. He's got the youth. He's obviously an incredibly talented running back, and he's stuck in hell right now. I think I can't confirm this, but I think he posted on Instagram after they lost in London and said free something. I think he was talking about himself. And he's just had a number of just absolute bangers of quotes in
Oh
press
yeah.
conferences. Yeah, he's ready to get the hell out of New York. Who wouldn't want to? But the problem with him is you trade for him, he's not going to be cheap. I know technically he'll be a rental, but he's going to be a free agent. And running back as talented as him, you can probably see him getting north of 10 million plus a year. He'll probably ask for near 20 or whatever Saquon's getting right now. Um, so yeah, Brees Hall, obviously my dream fit. He can do it all. He's effective in the pass game. Obviously, an explosive runner that the Chiefs just don't have. But he will cost money. If you're looking for a cheap rental, half a season type of thing, Alvin Kamara absolutely is just it hits my sweet spot there because you know I've come on this channel with you and Caden a lot, and I've talked about how much I loved Jerick McKinnon back in the day. It wasn't that long ago, but
Yeah, it was a
Jerick
couple
McKinnon,
years ago.
right. But Jerick McKinnon, he could do it all. He was, I think during the regular season a couple years ago, he had 9 straight games with receiving touchdowns, something like that. It was something crazy. But right now, the Chiefs just they don't seem to want to involve Brashard Smith more. I feel like they are giving him a little bit, just kind of just laying breadcrumbs down and just kind of not stringing him along. It's a poor choice of words here, but I feel like they just don't trust him with a bigger role yet. Alvin Kamara does it all better than any running back on your roster combined if you're Kansas City. And yeah, he's over 30 now, but he'll be cheap. He'll be a rental. And I don't believe he's owed that much money. So I think the Chiefs could pull that off, and he's just a dream fit in the Andy Reid offense because he does things that your running backs can't do. He's a hell of a route runner. We know that, and he's still a pretty decent runner. I don't think like if you get Kamara, I don't think this is a Le'Veon Bell situation or a Shady McCoy situation. I think Alvin Kamara, yeah, you trade for him. He is your number one back, your 3 down back. He's going to play 70+% of the snaps at RB. And you know, I, I I keep saying it. He can do it all. He can be your goal line guy. He can be your 3rd down back or catch passes out of the backfield or even run routes over the middle. Uh, that's my dream fit. And please, God, no Devin Singletary.
Dude, I literally don't think I could mentally take seeing Devin Singletary in a Chiefs uniform. Going back to your point, I think that Brees Hall would be, a home run hit. He is a free agent next year, so you would probably have to sign him because the Chiefs just don't trade for players that are on expiring contracts. They have to get that team control, and so you'd have to extend him. He wants out of New York. Like he posted free 20 on social media. He
Oh,
hit
that's what
everybody
he's.
with
Yeah.
the great quote. Teams shoot themselves in the foot, then we come back and shoot ourselves in the head. So Brees Hall is on an absolute media tear right now. I want him in Kansas City. Like you mentioned, the fit is there. I think he can catch the ball. He's got that, big playability, that explosiveness that you currently lack in the running back room.
Yeah.
I like Alvin Kamara a lot. I'm a little bit worried about that contract and how that would really work if you have to, take on a little bit, but also just where he fits. Not that he isn't a scheme fit, but I think that the Chiefs probably wouldn't give him the usage that he's used to. I mean, in New Orleans, he's a one-man show, and if he came
Yeah.
here, you kind of have to split up the carries at least a little bit with the other backs that you have. So I do think that, Kamara and Hall would be the best case scenario. But I do think, if the Chiefs do end up trading for someone in the running back room, it's probably going to be for a guy that you haven't really heard of. I think that's just how the Chiefs operate. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if we saw Jalen Wright from Miami. I think it might be a smaller name kind of guy that, has that explosiveness and can help this, unit out.
Yeah, and looking at Miami's roster, they've got Devon Achan and they've got Ollie Gordon, the rookie. And Miami, they've got a lot of pieces to sell, not only on offense but along that defensive line too. Jalen Wright, yeah, that's the sneaky under the radar one. I think he's been battling some health problems early this year, but yeah, if Brett Veach wanted to go get somebody for cheap, I'd imagine Jalen Wright cannot cost that much.
Well, I'll tell you what, you mentioned some of the other sale or players that'll be for sale, in Miami. I want to get to a list that PFF put out of some potential trade targets for the Chiefs, and we'll do that right after this break. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported this channel all football season long. Now, Kyle, getting back into the potential trade targets for the Chiefs, PFF introduced a list of targets the Chiefs could go after. The first one being running back Breece Hall. We'd both be in favor of that. The next one is Arizona Cardinals defensive tackle Calais Campbell. I like that one a lot as well. Defensive end Arden Key. Don't think that one's super likely. And then the last one is defensive end Jalen Phillips. So I want to get your thoughts on that list. Does anybody else stick out?
And I've actually got that same list pulled up. My dream trade would be Kayvon Thibodeau of the Giants. I don't think that'll happen. Although New York, they've got Brian Burns that they paid, and they just drafted Abdul Carter. And Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, in one of the final years of his deal, or he's in the fifth year, something like that. He would obviously have to get paid, but that's a 24-year-old, a very talented 24-year-old. But um, even a guy like Trey Hendrickson, you want to take a swing at him? Now, I don't know if the money will work there, but he's a free agent, and the Cincinnati Bengals need all the draft assets they can get because they made the stupid decision to pay both their wide receivers for some reason, and they've refused to work out a deal with Trey Hendrickson. Jalen Phillips, I would really like. I we'll see what Miami's cost is, but again, he'll probably likely be a near $100 million guy. What worries me about any trade candidates is the finances for next year. It's looking tight for the Chiefs so far, and they have some serious decisions to make. Leo Chenal, free agent. Trent McDuffie, you want to work something out with him. You've got to get started soon. He'll likely get north of 20 plus million a year, probably somewhere near whatever Sauce Gardner got, which I believe is near 30 mil per. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of decisions to make with the roster for 2026, and I'm just curious what can fit for the rest of 2025 this year. And if you go after a younger guy, it's likely to screw something up unless you take a giant swing and you make this guy Jalen Phillips, a Kayvon Thibodeau, hell, even a Bradley Chubb over Miami. Um, you would have to adjust your plans, but I think I trust Brett Veach. So basically, that's a long-winded way of saying that Calais Campbell does intrigue me. Matt Judon, he's also a Dolphin. He intrigues me.
Is he
Um,
actually?
yeah, he is a Dolphin.
Wow.
He's only playing like 32% of the snaps, but right now I think he would be your outside of Jones and probably Karlaftis. Right now I think he'd be one of your premier rushers, and um, man, it's just it looks bleak along that defensive line. Omar Norman Lott, I know hasn't really been the healthiest, but Ashton Gelati has been, and he just is not moving the needle at all. And I spent a lot of time on your channel, in the preseason, hyping up Charles Omenihu, having a bounce back year, a contract year. He's 92nd out of 110 on the PFF grades.
Not good.
He's not moving the needle. So I think the Chiefs, gun to my head, if I had to choose, I would pick an edge to trade for over running back, um, because I just don't like what I see along that defensive line.
Well, Kyle, I'll say this. Other people, gun to their head, they shoot themselves in the foot. You shoot yourself in the head. So I think that, that's a good spot to be. I don't even know where to go with that. But I think, when you look at trade targets that might make sense, it's going to have to be someone that is going to be cheap. And Calais Campbell is kind of just rotting in Arizona. That's not a team that's going to go anywhere. You can add him right away, and he's better than Derek Nottie. In terms of getting to the quarterback and stopping the run, that's a no-brainer. And if you want to go out there and get, a running back, if you had a running back and a defensive end or a defensive tackle at the deadline, you're cooking.
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think it is more likely to be because we've seen Brett Veach do this in the past. Terrell Suggs, an aging vet to come in and help, and then
Carlos Dunlap.
Carlos Dunlap, another big piece, and then I believe this was the year they did not win the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. Was it Melvin? Not Ingram. That's the running back.
Yes, it was. It was Melvin Ingram.
Oh yeah, they did add him and kept him on the practice squad. But there was
No. Melvin Ingram was the pass rusher.
I thought Melvin Ingram was the running back.
I think you're thinking of Melvin Gordon.
That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, running back out of Wisconsin, Melvin Gordon. That's who I was thinking of. Former Charger. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yes, Melvin Ingram. Just guys who are not 24, 25, and guys who are approaching 30 or are over 30, and they're cheap. I think we're likely to see that more than a younger guy at running back or defensive end.
No, I definitely agree. But, Kyle, I think that we tackled this subject very much in depth. Drop your take down in the comment section below what you guys think. Should the Chiefs trade for an edge rusher or a running back, or potentially maybe both? My final question for you is, where can the people find your content?
Find me right here on this channel, and then listen to me weekdays 2 to 6 on the program. I produce the program with Seren Petra.
And guys, all that stuff will be linked in the description of this video. Go follow him on Twitter as well. Hit that like button, subscribe for more Daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.